Hello, America, and everywhere else in the world. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Corey Has a Podcast. I am your host, Corey Easley. Tis I, tis me. And some of you may have noticed last episode sounded amazing, and it's all due to AI, which is something that I don't know a lot about, and I am very scared of because of ignorance and because I've seen a lot of movies about robots where the robots become so self-sufficient and sentient, and they don't need us anymore. They start taking over the world, putting us out of jobs, and they're in charge now because they don't hurt the way we do, and they don't have the same type of emotions or empathy that we do, maybe. I don't know. But I will say this, some of the shit's really cool because it just made my voice sound like I was in a goddamn studio, and it probably sounds like that to you again right now. You know, and your voice is like the instrument that was given to you at birth. And speaking of voices that were given to you at birth, I live next door to a baby, and I hear that baby screaming and crying all the time. And it just made me think, like, man, you really can't just like hit an off switch for the baby, right? Like the baby will just go off whenever, and we don't understand them. It's the same thing as having like a dog that won't stop barking or a cat that won't stop yowling. And it's funny because some people probably wouldn't like that I just compared a baby to a dog or a cat. But the truth is, you know, we're all just mammals. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals. So let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. People talk about the Discovery Channel like you turn it on and animals were just humping all the time. And that's just simply not true. You know, I remember Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, was out there wrestling alligators, looking for them, trying to hang out with them, trying to educate us on them. And usually when you see an alligator, I can't tell the difference between an alligator or a crocodile, by the way. I just know that they live in different places. But do alligators and crocodiles coexist? Crocodiles is what I almost said. I don't know. Do they share space? I doubt it. I think alligators live with alligators and the crocodiles live with crocodiles, and they are not shy about the segregation in the alligator and the crocodile community. But I just remember like watching Steve Irwin be like, I'm not going to do an Australian accent because I feel like an Australian accent is the hardest accent to do. Like, what accent is harder than an Australian accent? And you can't really walk around doing impressions of other people's accents anymore anyway, which I don't understand why. I think it's kind of cool. It's like a cool gift if you know how to do that, but whatever. I could do a pretty good Cockney accent. I don't think anybody gives a shit about that. I'm not going to do it. But anyway, Steve Irwin would be like, look at those fucking alligators over there. And then you'd look at them. They really wouldn't be doing anything. But it's kind of not, it's not any different from like walking into the living room and seeing the cat's arm hanging off the couch. It's just like, oh, look at the cat's arm hanging off the couch. And it's like, it's cute, kind of, I guess. But it's like, it's also just what they do. So look at that alligator just sitting there waiting for a fucking... I've seen alligators like attack and eat whole gigantic pelicans in one bite, you know? And I love that shit because I just think it's kind of cool. It's the circle of life. That is a banger. You got to listen to The Circle of Life next time you're at the gym lifting some heavy weights. It'll make you feel animalistic, but it'll make you feel majestic, like Mufasa. Yeah, it'll make you feel really... Sorry, I'm in a really silly mood today. And it's honestly, I just realized something. There's a direct correlation to consistently getting a reasonable amount of sleep on a nightly basis and health and your overall general mood. So yeah, I've been getting some really good sleep. And I tell you what, it's nice. It's nice to feel at least pretty good most of the time. You know, life is always going to make you tired. We know that, right? But try to go to sleep. Everybody's like, you got to go to this place and do recovery, and you gotta take this and go get a massage and eat this. It's like, no, just honestly, just fucking go to bed. Turn the Netflix off. Stop fucking around on your phone. All that Instagram and all that TikTok and shit, that shit's gonna be there tomorrow. Turn it off and just go to bed. Go to bed. When you wake up, you feel like a new person and you feel less easily frazzled by shit. You know, life starts coming your way. You start feeling enlightened. You start feeling like, oh, you know, I'm well rested. And you can be tired. You know, it's one of the most annoying things about being tired. Or let me try to think about what I want to say here. You know, when you're tired and somebody mentions something and you go, yeah, I'm just a little tired today. And they go, you're tired. I slept for 3 hours. And it's like, yeah, you know, I don't give a shit. I'm tired, right? You know, we're all tired. We're all allowed to be tired for whatever reason. But, you know, you'd be less tired if you just turned it all off and went to bed. And I get it too. Sometimes you just want to you get home after a long day and you just want to decompress, watch whatever you want to watch, lay around, have a snack, order some food. So yeah, I get it. Do your thing. But I will say this, it's waiting for you. It's the lowest hanging fruit. Just laying down in bed and trying to go to bed. I'm not even a good sleeper. Like, I'm saying this shit like, yeah, I sleep so well. I'm not a good sleeper. But if you start trying to do it, you can get good at it. It's like anything. It's like training for something, right? Like, I couldn't always just walk into the gym and bench press my body weight plus, you know what I mean? But eventually I was able to. You know, I don't lay in bed and immediately fall asleep every night, but sometimes I do. If you start paying attention to your sleeping patterns, it really, it's a real game changer. So I opened up my email this morning, and this is you're gonna like this, maybe. I opened up my email this morning, and it asked me you haven't verified your account in a while. Just make sure all this information is accurate. And I think it's kind of nice, I suppose, that Gmail does that. So I went to go verify my email by using an old email as my backup email, which I guess if everybody knows about this and I'm explaining this like an idiot, please stop me if you can. So I went to my backup email and I just saw all these work emails that I used to send from my old email, and just kind of took me a little trip down memory lane. You know, I saw pictures of me and my best friend sent to each other and shit like that. And I saw myself in some photos. And really the thing that got me the most was looking at the way I used to talk to people at work. It gave me some good memories and some PTSD from my old job, but also just man, I was just such a different fucking person 10 to 12, 15 years ago, you know? Which, you know, fortunately, I'm able to look back and think, man, I've grown a lot, but it's just also kind of funny. I'd make fun of myself. But it's crazy. If I was to be able to be myself right now, go back in time and talk to me at 20 to 23, I'd probably just be like, hey, man, I probably wouldn't even tell him anything. I wouldn't give anything away. I'd just be like, go on your journey. Just do whatever you think is right, because nobody could tell you anything anyway, because I know you, because you're me. You need it to feel like it's your idea, you know? I was just joking around the other day and said, my toxic trait is that I don't believe I have a toxic trait. No, but I think it's funny that we say that now too. Oh, my toxic trait is this. It's just amusing to me. But I wouldn't tell myself anything. People say, what would you say to yourself? I wouldn't tell myself anything. You know, I'm going to go back on that actually a little bit. I wouldn't tell myself anything in terms of life choices because I'm happy where I'm at now, and it kind of got me here. And I don't think if I went back in time, I would necessarily like, I wouldn't want to know that I was going to end up here, but I'm happy that I am. I don't like knowing. Like, people like to know, like, would you like to know exactly when you're going to die? No, I don't want to know. I want to be surprised. I like surprises. But I would tell myself, I would give myself some financial advice. That's probably the extent of it. Life advice, I would just let me live my own life. But financial advice, I'd be like, hey, listen, you're spending a lot of money on tattoos and you're not going to give a shit about them in 10 years. You're just not, And sometimes I talk about, like, I hear people get excited to get a tattoo and shit. And I love tattoos. I think tattoos are cool. I love a cool tattoo. But, like, I'm also just, like, at a place where I don't care about them anymore. And I don't know if it's maybe because, as soon as I turned 18, I just kept getting a bunch of them until I filled my arms up with tattoos until I got, you know what I mean? Like, my money legitimately just went to spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on tattoos. And realistically, like, where do I get off spending that kind of money on something like that? Just being irresponsible and young, and that's how you learn, right? So now now that I'm talking myself into this, I'm thinking, would I give myself advice, even financially? No, I kind of would be interested in, like, watching this motherfucker make those decisions, because some were good and some were bad. Some were like, I made inadvertently good decisions, because I'm not a total moron, but I also made a lot of stupid choices. And I think that's what you do when you're trying to figure out your life, especially when you come from a background of nobody really taught my parents and the people before them how to have money, right? Like, like, there's people that I'm related to that know how to make money. And then you get to a place when you're like, yeah, figuring out how to make money is not necessarily that difficult. How to keep money is probably the toughest thing in the world. And I don't think it's toughest thing in the world if you don't have any examples of it ahead of you, right? Because you can learn anything and everything now. Again, I say this all the time. We have the internet. We have YouTube. YouTube is such a fucking valuable resource if you want to go on there and listen to people tell their story about how they built success and made themselves comfortable and built a good lives for themselves and their family. But the truth is, we all just walk around. There's no rule book to life. I had a really nice conversation with my mother the other day, and she was, we were talking about some family stuff. And she said, and we were talking about just like growing up, and my mom was talking about raising us as kids. And she's like, there was no instruction manual. I was just trying to figure it out. And, it was a really nice moment to have with my mom as a grown fucking man. Like, I'm talking to my mom, and she's not, she's a young mom. So we're not like crazy far away in age. She's 20 years older than me. And I'm just like, it's really nice to hear you be that humble to talk about, like, listen, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was just trying to make sure that you guys were safe and fed and da-da-da-da. And, I love her to death. I think it's really cool that you can get to a place where you can talk to your mom about how she didn't know what the fuck she was doing. Like, I really love that. And then it's just, you got to rely. Like, I really feel like people have these things. And so, like, I feel like there's a lot of nurture involved, but there's a lot of nature. Everybody's a little different from the next person. There's groups of people that you could put into a box that are the same and that, like, are that type A personality and go through life this way. And then there's people that are totally unorthodox with the way they decide to approach anything, even the way they think. And people latch on to whatever they need. And I totally respect it, right? Like, if you're a God-fearing religious person, cool. That's what you got to do that helps you get through your day. Cool. If you're a person who fucking needs to join a community support group, like whatever, like do what you got to do. But everybody's a little different. And I think that's interesting. But I really find it kind of fascinating that as a whole, as a people, as a whole, we, especially like with social media, we just are all kind of voyeurs on everybody else's life regularly. And it kind of makes it easy for us, I think, in our brains. It makes us feel comfortable. And we have this, we're like very inclined to put everything in a category. Like we rank everything, no matter what. Like we rank movies, right? Like this is the best movie ever. Everybody should watch this movie. This movie sucks. Don't watch it. Like we love doing that. Or this food is delicious. We should all eat this. And it's just really interesting to me. And I love watching, but like my favorite thing to do is just very simple. My favorite thing to do is just kind of like absorb and decide how I feel about something, right? So like, which I think is a superpower in this day and age where there's just like categories and rankings and black and white, like things are so black and white oftentimes. And I feel like there's so much gray area that we just kind of go, nope, it's just black and white. I think there's a lot of gray, like we're quick to call someone evil and we're quick to say someone's good. But what happened to that evil person, like that we think is evil, right? Or do they have a mental illness? Or did a bunch of fucked up shit happen to them? It's like, would you be good if this shit happened to you? I don't know. That's why, I've been called an Empire sympathizer because I'm a fan of Darth Vader, and I think his story is just a little tragic. I think he was a sad little boy who had a rough life, and the only thing he had in the world was taken away from him, his mom. And, as a kid, as a boy who, me and my mom were best friends, I think about that and I'm like, me and my mom watched each other grow up, and Darth Vader, aka Anakin Skywalker, did not get to do that, unfortunately. But I think his story is a little tragic. But anyway, I'm not gonna start talking about Star Wars. But just what I'm saying is, I feel like we don't listen a lot. We're just very quick to judge, and I'm not like that. I might have a fast opinion here and there. I'm not saying that I don't judge, but I'm saying that we do it a lot not more often than not. But yeah, so your voice is the instrument, and this is that whole thing. I really got to say, I truly do love doing this podcast. Also, shout out to my friend Rocky Powell. It was her birthday this weekend. Party God Squad, fucking Wild Nights with Rocky podcast. Awesome friend, and really hope that you had a blast this weekend. I just love seeing people having a good time. And yeah, man, it's good. It's good. Also, people were coming up to me, and a lot of people had some great feedback and responses to me on my last episode. And I was talking about my former place of employment, and I didn't want to get on there and say names or anything like that. And there's a lot of bullshit that goes down. We all work at places where bullshit happens. And it's like, I'll tell you what, the best thing to do when you're somewhere where you're unhappy, just leave. Just get up and fucking go, right? And if you can't go right away, because I know it's not that simple, start taking the steps to put yourself in a position to make your exit. Your life will become a whole lot easier. Your quality of life will improve. And I know what it's like to feel stuck. Like sometimes you just gotta endure something for a long fucking time. Like it's really not that easy to just get up and go. We gotta make decisions, whether they're for better or worse, or for worse for a temporary time so they can become even better than they were before. Like, there's a whole lot of shit that goes into it, but my best advice is start making moves. You know what I mean? If you're unhappy. And if you are happy, fucking congratulations. Because it is difficult. At the end of the day, usually I feel like the best kind of balance you could have, people talk about balance all the time, right? Quote unquote balance. The best type of balance you could have is being able to not take work home too much, right? And sometimes you want to take work home, right? You take work home because you just love what you do so much, and it's you have a career. There's this Chris Rock joke where it's like, he's like, when you work at a job, there's way too many hours in a day. But when you have a career, there are not enough hours in a day. Look that up. Look up the Chris Rock joke about job career thing. It's very good and it's very true. But yeah, you know, and honestly, when you put it into that perspective, I don't even need to try to finish the thought that I was having before that I was fucking struggling with. So just do your thing. Do what you got to do for you. Sometimes neighbors are cool. Sometimes they're not. You know what my definition of a cool neighbor? People who don't ask you for shit. You know, that's it. I'm still trying to get this neighbor thing out, but it's not going to happen. Listen, do your thing. Take care of yourselves. Take care of the people you love. Have a fantastic day, and eat something good right now. Go out and get a snack. It's snack time. All right, later.